Hi, this is Doug from Dynamic Computing, and welcome to episode 54 of 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast. This week, I'm reviewing the new iBrowse web browser, version 2.5.2 for our lovely Amiga computers. Now, iBrowse 2.5 finally shipped in August of 2019 after a tiny little delay between version 2.4 and 2.5 of about 13 years. Now, I'm not here to talk about why it was delayed for 13 years between versions. iBrowse has been around in the Amiga community for quite a long time. It's gone through a couple of different owners, but at its root, it's a very powerful and fairly compatible web browsing package. Think of it as being at about the same level as maybe the last version of Netscape was back 15 years or so ago. It's not going to support things like cascading style sheets, CSS, or HTML5, but it does a fine job with a lot of websites out there. I'd say maybe 70% of the websites you go to, it's going to give you some kind of result back, and it may actually look pretty darn good. iBrowse is very, very tightly wound up with AmiSSL, which stands for Secure Socket Layer. That's the code, that's the encryption that's used in modern websites in order to keep them secure. Like that little lock that you see on your web browser sometimes just means it's SSL secured. Almost all modern websites really have to have SSL security, and AmiSSL 4.4, which is the modern one that is currently supported by iBrowse, is a really nice package that's updated fairly frequently by the authors. Now, AmiSSL is a free download, and you can actually get it right on the website that I'm about to show you right here on my PC. You can download it right along with the demo version of iBrowse. Now, here on the website, once you go to the store page, you're able to download the 68K version of iBrowse 2.5.2. It is a timed demo version, but it's a great way to try it out and make sure that you like it. You're also going to want to download the AmiSSL 4.4 file that you'll see right there. And if you don't already have MUI or Magic User Interface for your Amiga, you want to download that too. Now, that is a shareware program, but we've been unable to register it for like 15, 20 years or so. So just download it and use it. Worst case scenario, you'll get maybe an occasional NAG requester asking to license the shareware. So download these files right to, say, your CF card that you use for your Amiga. If you have an Amiga 1200 or an Amiga 600 with an accelerator, you can just download it right to a CF card, plug it right in there. In my situation, I'm doing it on my Amiga 4000, and I'm able to read it right in my card reader on here through USB and my Rapid Road USB card. They're fairly large files, 8 some odd megabytes for AmiSSL, a couple of megabytes for the actual iBrowse program. So you're going to need to get them over to your Amiga in some form that can fit on a large capacity device. Now, if you've already got internet access on your Amiga and you have maybe an old version of iBrowse or AWeb or whatever browser you're using, you can just download it right from there, right from the website, and install it that way. Works just fine. Now, be aware that iBrowse really needs an accelerator. You're not going to hook this up in your 68,000 based machine with 512K of RAM and expect it to do anything. Have at least an 020, have at least 4 megabytes of RAM, and you'll be a happy little camper. But for now, let's shift over to our real Amiga 4000 right there, and we'll go through the installation procedure and talk a little bit about iBrowse. See you in a minute. Now, in my situation, I've got this folder called Xfer 500 that is my compact flash card, and I just put all of the iBrowse files right in here. You'll see I've got AmiSSL 4.4.LHA. I've got the iBrowse 2.5.2.LHA files right here. What you're going to want to do is use your favorite decompression utility to decompress these files. Now, if you're using one of the more modern versions of the Amiga operating system, you might have a tool like Unarc here that allows you to select the files and decompress them. There we go. And in this case, we'll just decompress this to RAM just for fun. Start. That will now decompress the files. Now, you can also generally use the LHA tool to do the same thing. So if you go to your particular folder, Xfer 500, iBrowse, and we're going to dir LHA. You can see your LHA files in here. If you wanted to, you could use just the standard LHA program to decompress them. So we'd go iBrowse 2.5.2-020 plus.LHA. That's going to decompress it to the specific folder. Now here's a nice little example of Amiga's multitasking. We're decompressing the SSL with the Unarc utility. We're decompressing the iBrowse with the LHA utility. Just kind of fun to be able to do this. Now, when you're all done, and I'll assume that if you need Magic User Interface, you downloaded that and you decompressed that too. Install that first. Just do the installer routine for Magic User Interface and it'll install it on your machine. Now I already have it on here, so I'm not going to bother. The next thing we want to install is the AmiSSL. Now I'd put this in my RAM disk. You see it has a standard Amiga installer here, and we want to install it for Amiga OS 3. Notice it works with Amiga OS 4 or Morph OS also, which is very, very cool. But in this case, we're doing everything on Amiga OS 3. Then you see it gives us a choice of an 020, 030, 040 or an 060 version. In my specific instance, I have an 060 in this machine. We're going to install it that way. Now, if you've installed the older versions of AmiSSL in the past, which you would have done if you've watched some of my old videos, it will detect that and allow you to keep your settings and install it over it. And now we're just going to do the AmiSSL install, and it just takes a moment. Now you notice it says please reboot for modifications to take effect. We're going to go ahead and install the iBrowse software before we actually do the reboot. Now the iBrowse I decompressed in its own little original folder here, so we'll install it from there. Gives you the option to install iBrowse. Now again, if you've already installed an old version, just install it in that same location and it will keep some of your settings and overwrite things with the new version. We're going to proceed. I always like to put my internet stuff on my Workbench folder in a folder called Internet. I don't know why I like to do it, I just do. Upgrading an existing 2.5 installation to iBrowse 2.5.2. Awesome. We're going to accept that. We can choose what languages we want to install. And again, which CPU you're going to use. This is kind of cool because it will use a floating point unit if you have one available. Choose the appropriate CPU and install away. What kind of image set do you want to install? It all depends on what kind of system. If you're doing an ECS system, choose 5-bit 32 color. If you're using an AGA, go ahead and use 8-bit 256 color. This is for some of the images used in iBrowse. This obviously, I've got a retargetable graphics card, so we're going to go 8-bit. Let's see what we want to do here. These are some of the images. We're going to go ahead and copy those images over. Some more images. Now here, transfer animation, like when you're installing something or downloading something, Which kind of image do you want to use? We could use 24-bit, or I could use just an 8-bit image. I'm just going to use an 8-bit image. These are some of the Magic User Interface programs. Just accept the installation. Custom MUI classes will be installed. That's fine. And it has been installed. Now, if you have bought the keys, like in this case, I've got my iBrowse 2.5 key and my iBrowse 2.4 key. I purchased those. What you want to do is you want to copy those to the iBrowse folder if you purchased it. So in this case, Internet, there's iBrowse. I could just copy these right over. Now they already exist, and it's going to tell me they already exist, but we'll just copy them over again. Drag and drop. That activates the license on iBrowse. Now, it would normally require a reboot of the system. I've already installed this in the past, so I don't need to reboot, but you can go ahead and reboot now if you need to. Now, once you reboot, this is critical. The certificates used with AmiSSL are very time and date dependent. If you don't have a real-time clock on your Amiga, set your time every time you boot your machine before you start to use iBrowse. In this case, there's December 22nd, 2020. And my time's a little bit wrong. We'll just change some times here. There we go. We're going to use that. Now, if you have a real-time clock, you don't have to worry about that. If this is something you do on a regular basis, just take your time preference, drag it out to the desktop, and then go up here to Icons and click Leave Out. And what will happen is every time you reboot, your clock will be waiting right there on your desktop for you to set your time to remind you to set it. If you don't do this, you will receive certificate errors when you browse to websites. It's just going to happen. Now, also something that's very important is iBrowse does not come with any TCP/IP software. You need to get your Amiga on the web, and if you're watching this video, you probably already have it on the web. Now, you can use some of the traditional ones like Genesis, Miami. What else do we have here? I guess those are the two that I have on here. But the one I really recommend is Roadshow. Roadshow is available. I'll put the link for it at the bottom of this screen that you're watching here. This is a $25 program worth every single penny, because it makes your Amiga work just like your PC or your Mac, where you turn it on, you're connected to a network, and it's just on. No starting a graphics user interface and starting the web or the TCP/IP stack. It's just automatically running. Now, Roadshow does have a timed demo. If you want to download it and try it, they do have a timed demo available. You're going to want to browse to your folder that you installed it to. In this case, there's iBrowse. Notice it's registered to Douglas Compton. You can't steal my registration. I paid good money for that. Now, in my case, I have loaded this up on a retargetable graphics screen, so it's going to look a little different than yours. Now let's take a peek at a few of the menu items up here. Of course, you right-click. We can open up a new window, open up a new browser, just like you'd be able to do on your traditional PC or Mac browser. Open a local HTTP file. About iBrowse, about plugin, about MUI. You see a lot of your normal items there. Here we can go back, forward, home, view browser history, just like you'd expect. Reload web page. A lot of these are going to have icons right out here as well as menu items. Bookmarks, just like you'd expect. You can make bookmarks for commonly used sites. Choose which windows are open, like a download manager shows you which downloads are currently in process, which downloads have already been done. That's kind of nice. Cookie manager allows you to look at cookies for various sites that you've been to. Delete your cookies if you want to. Cache Explorer, you can go and look and see what kind of images are cached. You can flush your memory cache, flush your disk cache. Control which passwords have been saved. You can save passwords on here for logging into websites. And most importantly, going into your preferences editor is where you're going to want to spend a lot of your time when you're first setting it up. Some of these will only affect the current session, like image loading, custom colors, frames, JavaScript. You can enable or disable these things for specific sessions that you're on here, and they won't necessarily be saved once you exit the program. To save things permanently, we're going to go into Settings, and we are going to take a look at some of these settings in here. Now, some of the general settings are like, what startup page do you want? Which windows are opened on startup? Which directories are your default directories, like your download directory, temporary directory? All of those you can change right here. For example, here you could click Add and you could just put in a new name and a new website that you want to put up on your little toolbar, your little quick launch toolbar up there. So that's really handy. You see I've got some common ones here that are actually really good. Now here under JavaScript, you can turn on or off JavaScript support. Now this is important because some websites really require JavaScript and won't work without it. But everything loads a lot faster with JavaScript turned off. So you may want to play with the setting and see which one fits you the best. Now, here under security and ciphers, I like to turn off this DH key right here. This actually seems to make everything run faster. This all has to do with the SSL encryption from AmiSSL, and I find turning off these encryption key exchanges really doesn't affect my compatibility, but makes everything run faster. Here under cache, we can change the cache sizing for everything. Like if we want a bigger image cache, if you have plenty of RAM, bigger page cache, how much chip RAM you want to keep clear, like here's 512K. Under spoofing, you can tell it to spoof things like Netscape, Mozilla, which would be Firefox, Internet Explorer up to 7. It'll send a spoof of which browser that it's actually working as here. So you can have fun with some of those settings. Once you're done with your preferences, you're going to want to go back up to Preferences. You're going to want to click Save Settings, so remember those settings. Now, let's do some browsing. Even on a zippy fast system, 68060 like mine, it's not going to be earth-shattering speed. Now, it does absolutely get the job done. iBrowse, like I mentioned, does not support HTML5 or CSS cascading style sheets, but it does a good job with a lot of websites, especially Amiga-centric websites. Let's take a peek at a few. Now, one of the most important website you're going to go to works perfect with iBrowse, and that is AmiNet. The website is www.aminet.net, and it just loads up like a dream and works like a dream. Everything here works great. See, you can do a search for important things like 10 mark here, and you can come up with this all these different videos that this 10 mark guy stopped uploading back in 2018. We'll go back to our recent files. We want to download something. Here's a bugged workbench launch bar for classic Amigas. Who doesn't want a bugged launch bar? Okay, we'll just click on it. It comes up, asks us where we want to download it, just like you'd expect. Click OK. Boom, downloads. Now I have an Xsurf 100 in here, which is a pretty darn fast networking card, so it does download fairly quickly. Now how about Amiga-specific forums? Let's check some popular ones out, like Amiga.org. I think we've all spent plenty of time here. You see that comes up pretty darn fast, all things considered. It looks absolutely beautiful on my retargetable graphics card, but even in regular AGA 256 colors, it really doesn't look bad at all. We'll go into the forums, assuming they're not broken. Yeah, here we are in our Amiga.org forums. Now you can log in here just fine. Just click the login button, log in with your username and password. It'll save it, no problem at all. We can go through here. Oh, look at this. Regarding iBrowse 2.5.2, AmiSSL, and images. That sounds like a good one to go into. We're going to go and read the forum. And we can go through, read everything all we want to. We can respond to everything. We'll scroll down to the bottom if we wanted to, and we could respond to any of these, reply to any of them. I can't do it right now because I'm not logged in. Here's another good one here. We'll go to bookmarks, and we'll go to English Amiga board. We've all been there plenty of times. Oh, look, it's snowing on the English Amiga board. Again, log in just fine if you want to. Browse forums, works just fine. Now here's another one that I'm thankful is working. Amigalove.com. This is done by our good friend Intricate, or Eric, and it is one of the best American-run Amiga forums out there. Now I'm especially pleased that this is working because in iBrowse 2.5 and I think even 2.51, it really didn't work well. It would take like 15 minutes to load even this first page, and now it's up in a matter of seconds. So whatever they did with 2.5.2 and AmiSSL 4.4, it fixed all the problems browsing on the Amigalove website. Now how about social media? Like it or not, that's how many of us in the community keep in touch. The Amiga and C64 groups on Facebook are really quite enjoyable, and the retro community on Twitter can be a lot of fun as long as you avoid the drama. Let's go and take a look at Twitter. Hop on there. Now, you can, if you want to, we'll just hop onto Twitter here. Now, you can, if you want to, also go to the main Twitter site, which is just www.twitter.com. But what I find with iBrowse is that it takes all of the images and photos that people upload, and they end up being these giant full screen images, and it's just a pain to browse through. It absolutely works. But instead, going to mobile.twitter.com, it'll come up with this mobile Twitter site, which is a little bit cleaner look and is usually even a little bit faster than this. But you can go through and read all your tweets and respond to all your tweets, open up the pictures manually if you want to. So who do we have here? Reset 64 magazine, retweeted by Todd Gill. Oh, Sarah Jane Avery, for those interested and those who haven't seen. I did a blog post a while ago about all the games I've coded off over the years. Man, am I excited to see her new game. That's going to be just awesome. Oh, here's a guy named Sanction. Who's this guy here? Mindflare Retro. Jan Beta. See, so we can go through and look at all of our Twitter and reply to all of our Twitter right on our Amiga. Now, I know a lot of you are very anti-Facebook, but Facebook actually has quite an active Amiga community with several great Amiga resources, including Commodore Computer Central, which I'm an admin of, that I recommend you check out. We do a bunch of 8-bit and Commodore Amiga stuff on there. But Facebook also works as long as you go to mobile.facebook.com. Works just great. And you're able to go through and see all of the current posts. Oh, look, the Guru Meditation is with Amiga Bill. It got hot on stream today. Hired Sword 2 is awesome. Huge thanks to Roy Riggs for coming on and all who joined. Here's the steamy replay. That really was a good one. And be sure to check out my review of Hired Swords 2 that I did last week too. It's really a great game. And again on here, we can react we're going to go ahead and give it a little reaction here. And we're going to say love. Now we can go back down to it and we can do a comment. And we're going to say, Amiga Bill, I loved your stream today. I am typing this right on my A4000 while filming a video. Now Bill's going to get that comment right on Facebook. Pretty cool, huh? Now, in the past, I was able to get Gmail to work on iBrowse. Go into their and one of their older sites, and Gmail worked okay, and I was able to get my Gmail. On this version, whenever I go to Gmail, it just keeps giving me JavaScript errors. I don't know why it's not working now. It's a real shame. Now, a lot of modern sites aren't going to work at all. So like if we go to msn.com, that's probably going to look a little bit messy, but let's take a look. Oh, not bad, really. No, we can get out to the latest news and information. Oh, who's that? Oh, politics. Let's avoid politics. See, so it actually works fairly well and fairly fast. So you're not going to use this necessarily for your day-to-day web browsing, but where it shines is with the ability to connect to online resources for your Amiga and to be able to download files right to it. Combine it with one of the nice email clients and maybe an FTP program, and you have a nice little internet-connected Amiga here. Now we've had a chance to take a look at the really nice and high quality iBrowse 2.5.2 web browser. But now we have to take a look at the big giant white elephant in the room. And that is the price of the web browser. It sells for $59.95 American dollars. And you can translate that into your own currency, but anyway, slice it. That's expensive for a web browser. In 2020, okay? Now, this may win an award for being literally the only web browser that you can purchase with actual money on actual planet Earth. Now, don't get me wrong. This should absolutely not be a free program. The guys that coded this absolutely deserve to get paid for what they did because they did a fantastic job. But $60? You know, you can buy Kickstart 3.1.4 and a full version of Workbench for less money than that. That's a price that's going to chase customers away. Let me give you an example. Let's say 100 people go to their website and they look at that $60 price. 98 of them are going to say, that's not for me. And they're either going to stick with their old pirated copy of iBrowse 2.4, or they're going to go to AWeb or something like that that's less quality, but is not $60. So 2 people buy it, they made $120. Now, you drop the price down to $30, which is, in our heads, much more reasonable. And you're going to have 10 out of those 100 people say, well, $30, that's not too bad. They worked hard on this. Let's get that. And suddenly, instead of only making $120, they've made $300 on a product that has no physical product. So there's no cost in the actual physical product. Doing the same amount of work, they've made over twice the money. Just makes sense. Now this brings me to another point that kind of ticks me off. For 13 years, we heard, oh, you can't buy version 2.4. We can't sell you a key for version 2.4. It's impossible. The technology's not there, whatever. Okay, version 2.5 comes out, you buy it, the first thing they say is, hey guys, here's a key for your version 2.4 too. There you go. So you mean all this time, for 13 years, we could have bought it, we could have licensed it, we could have not pirated it like we all did? Yeah, I'm looking at you. I know you pirated it. If 10 years ago, and I was using my Amigas occasionally 10 years ago, I got a networking card for my A1200, I wanted to buy iBrowse 2.4. I'd have given them 20, 25 bucks 10 years ago. How they could have left that money on the table for 13 years, it doesn't make sense to me. So here's my recommendation. And again, this is coming from the heart because I want the developers to be successful. I want them to make money. Money is good. Drop the price to $29.95. Work out a deal with the awesome people that do the Roadshow TCP IP software. Work out a deal to bundle them together for $49.95. You get Roadshow, normally it's 25 bucks. You get iBrowse, 30 bucks, let's say, is what it should be. Get the whole deal for $49.95. Man, that's suddenly, this is sounding like a really good deal for Amiga users. There's an upgrade path too. If you were one of the actual owners of the old 2.4 software from 15 years ago, there's an upgrade path, $25, $30, $35. Drop that to $10, $15, maybe $20 for the upgrade. That's a much more reasonable approach, especially considering how long we waited for this. This is good software, and these people absolutely deserve our support and absolutely deserve our money. It just needs to be more reasonable. In a nutshell, this is a fantastic product. This is a fantastic product that deserves our support. I want them to continue to update it. I want them to continue to work on it. Absolutely. This would absolutely get 4.5 Amiga check marks out of 5 for the quality of the software, but I've got to deduct 3/4 of a check mark and bring it down to 3.75 Amiga check marks out of 5, just because of the pricing issues. But if you're like me, and if they're not going to budge on the price, and you're like me and you got to have the latest and greatest and coolest things for the Amiga, by all means, buy it. Spend the 60 bucks, get a license for it. But another option is, let the devs know. Send them an email. Tell them you watched my video and you would love to buy it for a more reasonable price of, say, $30. The worst they can say is no, but if they get 50, 100, 150 people saying, hey, we'll buy it if, they can't turn away that kind of money. Just follow through and actually buy it if they go ahead and reduce the price. Just do that. Do the right thing. Or maybe they're selling hundreds and hundreds of copies of it a month at 60 bucks each, and then they can completely ignore me. That's fine. But on another note, I would like to thank my absolutely wonderful patrons, of which you can become a patron. I've recently changed my Patreon tiers. Now it's the A500 tier for $2 a month, the A1200 tier for $5 a month, and the A3000 tier for $10 a month. There are some more tiers going up to the A4000 tier, but nobody's going to do that right now. Take a look on my beautiful website that I have on my beautiful Amiga 4000 running beautiful iBrowse, and we'll take a look at my most recent Patreons. The logo's a little big in iBrowse, but that's okay. Let's see who we got here. Amiga 500 tier. Hey, thanks guys. I really appreciate that. And we got a couple of guys here down in the Amiga 1200 tier and the Amiga 3000 tier. You guys are the best. Thanks for watching, and developers of the software, if you're watching this, I hope you understand the spirit of which I'm coming at this. Follow me on Twitter at 10mark1. Please like and subscribe. Leave your comments about what you like about iBrowse, what other web browsers you use on the Amiga, where you want to see iBrowse go in the future. Leave a comment down there. I'd love it. Follow me on Twitter at 10mark1. But until next time, this is Doug from 10 Minute Amiga Retrocast, signing out.